Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most famous and most moving art museums in the entire world, the Van Gogh Museum. We're going to uncover its incredible origin story, get up close with the powerful art inside, and most importantly, give you all the essential tips for planning the absolute perfect visit. So, let's get right into it.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll start with the incredible family promise that even made the museum possible. Then, we'll trace Van Gogh's wild artistic journey. After that, we'll look at the architecture of the building itself, solve that classic Amsterdam visitor dilemma, and then we'll wrap up with all the practical tips you'll need. All right, let's kick things off with the real heart of the museum. Because you have to understand, this place isn't just another art gallery. Oh no, it's the fulfillment of a family's incredible devotion to one single troubled genius.
You know, this quote from Vincent himself just perfectly captures the spirit behind this entire place. This wasn't some kind of business deal or a big state project. It was, from the very beginning, purely an act of love. So, how did this world-famous museum even come to be? Well, it all comes down to the unbreakable bond between Vincent and his brother Theo. After they both died tragically young, Theo's son, Vincent Willem, inherited this massive, priceless collection of art. And to protect his uncle's legacy, he created the Vincent van Gogh Foundation way back in 1962, making sure that this art would belong to everyone forever.
And if you need one single painting to understand this family connection, it's Almond Blossom. It's one of the most beloved pieces in the museum. Vincent painted it to celebrate the birth of that very same nephew, Vincent Willem. Those blooming branches, a symbol of new life, beautifully connect the artist, his family, and the museum's very foundation. It's just an incredible story.
Okay, now let's turn to the art itself. The museum is actually set up so you can literally walk through Van Gogh's dramatic evolution, from this painter of dark, harsh reality to an absolute master of color and emotion.
Early in his career, Van Gogh wasn't trying to paint pretty pictures, not at all. He wanted to capture the raw, gritty truth of peasant life. He used this really dark, earthy color palette because he was focused on the hard work and the dignity of his subjects and their connection to the soil. And this quote, this just perfectly sums up his whole vibe back then. He said this about his first masterpiece, the Potato Eaters. He wanted that dark, dusty color to show that these people had honestly earned their food. For him, being sincere was way more important than being technically perfect.
But then, everything changed. When Van Gogh moved to Paris, he saw the work of the Impressionists for the first time, and it just blew his mind. All that bright, brilliant color was a total revelation. He became obsessed with using these bold, dramatic colors to express his own intense feelings, and it completely changed his art forever.
And the coolest part is, the museum's collection lets you witness this incredible journey with your own eyes. You can physically walk from the dark, moody tones of the Potato Eaters right over to the blazing yellows of sunflowers and the hopeful blues of Almond Blossom. It's like watching one of art's most profound transformations happen right in front of you.
So, we've talked about the art. But what about the building that holds it all? Well, the structure itself has had to change pretty dramatically over the years just to keep up with Van Gogh's incredible and ever-growing fame.
Get a load of this number. Before 2020, the museum was welcoming around 1.8 million visitors a year. That is a staggering number, and it actually created a huge logistical problem. But why?
Well, here's the kicker. The original building, which opened back in 1973, was only designed for about 60,000 visitors a year. So the museum's unbelievable success meant it was operating at nearly 30 times its intended capacity. That put a massive strain on the whole building.
So, the museum had to grow. In 1999, they added the curvy Kurokawa wing for special exhibitions. Then, in 2015, came the real game changer, a stunning new glass entrance hall that finally connected the two buildings, creating this bright, open space to handle that massive flow of people.
Okay, this brings us to a classic dilemma for anyone visiting Amsterdam's Museum Square. You've got two world-class museums sitting right next to each other. If you're short on time, which one do you pick?
It's a really tough question, because honestly, they're both fantastic. But the right answer really depends on what you're looking for from your museum experience. So let's break it down. The Van Gogh Museum is this deep, emotional dive into a single, revolutionary artist. You can really get the whole story in about 2 to 3 hours. The Rijksmuseum, on the other hand, is a much bigger, grander museum. It covers 800 years of Dutch art and history, with huge names like Rembrandt and Vermeer. You need at least 4 or 5 hours there just to scratch the surface. So it's a choice between a focused, personal story and a huge, sweeping epic.
All right, let's say you've made your choice. It's the Van Gogh Museum. Now we get to the most important part, how to actually have a great visit. And believe me, this requires some planning.
Okay, listen up, because this is the golden rule, and it is non-negotiable. You cannot buy tickets at the museum. I repeat, you cannot just show up. They are only sold online for specific time slots, and they sell out sometimes weeks in advance. You absolutely have to book ahead.
The process is super simple. Just go to the official museum website, pick your date and a specific time to enter, and then buy your tickets. The key here is to do it early. Please don't wait until the week of your trip because you will almost certainly be disappointed.
And trust me, when you go makes all the difference. The absolute best time is right when they open, between 9 and 11 a.m. The worst time? That's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We call it peak chaos time. If you can't make the morning, your next best bet is after 3 p.m., when the big crowds start to leave.
And finally, just a few key details to have in your back pocket. An adult ticket is currently €24, and anyone under 18 gets in for free, which is awesome. You'll find the museum at Museum Plane 6, and the easiest way to get there is by taking tram 2, 5, or 12 right to the Museum Plane stop.
And that brings us to the end of our guide. You know, the museum takes you on this incredible journey through Van Gogh's highest highs and his lowest lows, and it leaves you with this one big question. After you've walked through his life's work, from the dark Dutch peasants to the brilliant French blossoms, who do you think he was? A master of finding hope in the world, or a painter who documented his own deep suffering? The answer, as you'll see for yourself, is beautifully and tragically both.